get into, if you can't already tell, we're going to be getting into Sera, one of the seraphim. I think that her character is much more mercurial than it seems at first glance. So let's take a deeper look into Sera.
St. Peter, we can take it from here. Greetings, daughter of the morning star. I am Sera, the high seraphim of heaven. You're gifted to be here.
Hi!
It's just Emily's squeal brings so much joy. For Sera, you can tell that she has this mask that she wears that she wants to seem like she's all put together, that she's doing things by the book. She comes across so very composed, and she carries with her a lot of authority. And I think that that comes with a whole bunch of issues that may be less ordered than what we think.
After you see around, you'll never want to go back down.
Of course it is just temporary. I'm sorry you can't stay.
And she has to make sure that when Emily kind of offers everyone to kind of stay here or saying like, you know, oh, this is going to be wonderful, you're going to love it here. She has to make sure that people kind of understand that this is not going to be something to expect. That is important. You want to set boundaries and consequences immediately and from the get-go, even though sometimes that could be a little awkward, especially when someone first comes in. But if you have rules of your house, it's good that everyone is aware of that before they enter so that people feel comfortable with that. And you don't know and you've been doing something wrong for a really long time, then that can cause animosity or resentment. So I think that it's a good idea that you're able to state them and feel comfortable to state them. For a lot of people, we feel bad stating our boundaries, like we don't have a right to be able to have certain rules with certain consequences. And you do.
Shh, sir. What was the Seraphim's one rule?
No one but the exorcist can know about the exterminations. I know, fine.
You should listen to your lieutenant, Adam.
Sera, you can't sneak up on a guy like that.
So you see the amount of authority she has. Even to someone like Adam and Luke, they quiet down, and even Adam shows mostly a good deal of respect when she speaks. She's high on the food chain, that she carries the order and everyone else listens to her and a little bit fears her.
What are the Hellspawn doing here?
Well, you failed to control the demon's unrest, and now Lucifer is involved. I never would have agreed to your yearly activities if I thought it would bring trouble to our doorstep.
So you can hear in her voice how she has trouble to even say the exorcism, which means that she already feels that there might be something wrong with this, that maybe it's not the most holy of things to do to just slaughter people because you're worried about it. And I think that there's a really interesting psychology of when you do things even though you know that they're morally wrong or you question that. So that means that they hold a value that is higher than this. And what exactly for Sera is that?
Keeping heaven safe was my only reason for allowing it.
What do you want from me? I'm just one guy.
It's funny though for Adam, like he's like, you know, oh, I'm this great thing, I'm the first guy, I'm the most important. And then when responsibility kind of falls on him, he's now only like, oh, I'm just one guy. Yeah, Adam.
I want you to do whatever you need to do to keep this problem from getting any worse.
For Sera, the ends justify the means, a term made famous by Machiavelli. And he has a book all on different Machiavellian values and how to go about things called The Prince, that Sera, even though she feels uncomfortable with it, is accepting of. That as long as she keeps heaven safe, no matter what the cost or whichever of her own morality she breaks, it's worthwhile. And that's a really Machiavellian way of thinking about things. And that kind of gives me like a shiver. When I first watched it, it didn't seem like it was that Machiavellian. Her saying that you can do whatever. And Adam is exceptionally literal. And for her, as a position of authority, to say that could be interpreted by different people very differently. Does that mean that he could kill Charlie and that would be okay? Does that mean that he could just slaughter everyone that's around him and that would be all right? It kind of makes me look at Sera with a different lens. Even though she shows a lot of traits of seeming very angelic and pure and thoughtful and just, that she's willing to do a lot of darker things in order to keep heaven safe. That makes me kind of think that maybe Sera actually knew when Alistair was killing all the most dangerous demon lords in hell. Maybe that benefited her to keep all the people that might make an uprising in check. It kind of just makes you think to that possibly she was okay with it or maybe she allowed it.
We are gathered here today to determine whether or not a soul in hell can be redeemed into the heavenly realm by means of this Hazbin Hotel.
And it makes me kind of feel bad for Charlie because here it seems like Sera is there on good faith, that she is really wanting to listen to Charlie, that Charlie has a chance, but it already seems that Sera's already thought about the answer. Often we are so strong in our convictions and we become single-minded that there's only one path to achieve our means, that we're not going to even truly listen to any other ideas. They may differ from ours.
Princess Morningstar.
Webster's dictionary defines redemption as...
Objection! Lame and unoriginal.
Sustained. No further dictionary references, please.
Right, okay.
I don't know, it's fine to have dictionaries. Sometimes it is really important when we have a debate to be able to understand what the terms are that we're discussing and to be able to be all on the same page so that we can understand what does redemption really mean and how do we define that and what are the rules to that. So I think that this being sustained, Adam's thought that just because it's unoriginal, it doesn't have any validity or it isn't important to be able to discuss. We're often discussing things and it's just because we have a different definition of each term that sometimes we're arguing about something against each other, but we actually believe the same thing. We just have the definitions of the terms, the meanings to the words that we're using are different.
See? He did everything on your checklist.
Then why isn't he here then?
None of you know what gets someone into heaven?
This questioning stops now. We know when a soul arrives. We know when they pass divine judgment. It is our job to ensure these souls are safe.
When someone questions your belief or who you are, for Sera being at the top of the hierarchy, no one ever questions her. She's used to people just following blindly. She just ends it. She doesn't want to be able to have that discussion. Whenever you don't want to be able to discuss a differing view or you don't want to be able to hear it, that makes me think that you don't feel that comfortable in what you actually believe, that causes you emotional distress. And why would that? If you're really solid in your belief, if you feel comfortable in why you believe that, if you can defend it, why would you need to shut down someone else's argument versus that? I think that a lot of the problems that we have right now is that we can't discuss differing views. The idea of discourse, of coming to the truth, of understanding things, of seeing things in a different view are so shut out immediately that we stay in these bubbles where everyone else around us believes exactly the same thing. And that's not actually healthy for our brain. It doesn't help us grow and stay kind of plastic. It makes us very rigid. It can give us blinders for differing ways to do things and stop us from being able to evolve, to learn, to be more fluid and adaptive. And that adaptiveness is really healthy and better for our own survival. And I think that that helps us come closer together and we realize that even people with completely different ideological views may not be as different as we think.
But she was right, Sera. She showed us the soul can improve. He saw the light, Sera.
And you see Sera's look? This is painful for her. This is not just her questioning her own beliefs, but now she has Emily questioning her beliefs. And you can tell that the relationship between Sera and Emily is very maternal. Now, I don't know if they're actually related. I don't know if she's actually the mother of Emily, but they definitely have a maternal relationship. And to be questioned by someone else that you tried to let see the best of you and for them to notice all of the cracks in your armor can be a really painful thing. But sometimes that look in the mirror to be able to be reflected back on you is also really important. Sometimes the painful things that we have to see about ourselves, our ugly truths, are also healthy so we can evolve.
Deserves a second chance. Now we turn our backs, no second glance.
It's not as simple as you think. Not everything is spelled in ink.
And I think that that's a fair statement that Sera's saying. And sometimes we have to make difficult decisions for the greater good. Things aren't that black and white. But I think that for Sera, she's portrayed something that isn't true. And if you're really honest about your mistakes and your flaws, people are usually pretty good about that. It's when you project that I am holier than thou, that I'm better than everyone else, That hypocrisy people get really upset about. And when they realize your humanity or your mistake, when you've been hypocritical, knocking you off of that pedestal feels actually good for others because you've stood in judgment. What she's decided that the people in hell are not worthy of redemption and you can actually just go down and torture and kill them for fun and pleasure because it benefits heaven is something that would be considered hypocritical. And so it actually feels good when people knock them off and you have to come to that realization. So being more genuine and authentic, which sometimes is difficult, is actually a benefit.
Don't you care, Sera? Doesn't mean they can't resolve to change their ways. Turn the page, escape infernal place.
I'm sure you wish it could be so, but there's a lot that you don't know.
And that's that political answer. And I think that it's often used as a blanket term to shut other people down, to shut down questions that you don't know enough. How could you question me? I'm a person of authority. And I think that in that way, the ends justifying the means, that's her way of just kind of not being willing to be able to have that discussion, because sometimes when you take a look at all of the pieces that are in play, it may not look as pretty as other people want. And for someone like Sera, who wants to be looked up to and looked up to as being just and holy, especially to everyone else that's around her, because if they started to question, then all of the pieces of heaven, all of that order might change.
Gotta say, I can't wait to come down and exterminate you.
Wait!
So let's go back and take a look at Sera's face when Adam is about to drop the one thing that she told him not to say anything about. Of course, Adam can't deal with that because he just does things in the moment, the frontal lobe deficiency, and so whatever happens, he just says it.
Gotta say, I can't wait to come down and exterminate you.
Wait!
The horror upon her face when something that she has been hoping with all hope to keep secret, because she knows how horrific this really is, that no matter what, it still is horrible.
That's out of the
What's the big deal?
Sera, tell me that you didn't know.
And that's that heartbreaking question of, did you know that this is happening? And Sera doesn't have much of a choice because Adam's gonna tell her, if she said, no, I didn't know that he was doing this, Adam right away would give up the goods. That's the problem with her making a deal with someone that would do this. Someone that would just slaughter people will also betray you without a thought either. I think that a lot of times people think that, oh, I'm gonna be special, they're gonna treat me different. If they would do this to someone else, they have the capacity to do this to you also. So unfortunately, when someone shows you who they are, you want to believe them.
Thought since I'm older, it's my load to shoulder.
No.
You have to listen. It was such a hard decision.
And you see that pain for Sera of realizing, even though for her the ends justifying the means, the cost of this, the fallout of this, she's made this decision that affects everyone that's in heaven and in hell for them.
I wanted to save you, the anguish it takes to do what was required.
And that look of, you know, I had to do what was required, but you see all the fire in her eyes, which does seem like that, the way that Emily sees her, the reflection back at her of how she feels about her. And I think that sometimes we so dearly want to protect things and keep things safe that sometimes we go just too far. I think that Sera really did have good intentions of wanting to keep the people in heaven safe from who she saw as the bad people in hell. And when we do that, when we separate kind of good from bad, the in-group from the out-group, we're able to do horrible things to them. And for Sera, she sees everyone in heaven. This is the world that she lives at. Because she never experiences people that are in hell, she doesn't go there, it's so much easier to demonize them. When we form our little tiny groups, we look at the out-group as so much worse. We only hear the rumors. We exclude others from that. But because of that, we don't feel as bad when we've dehumanized a group and made them as less than. It's easy to turn a blind eye when horrible things are happening to them because they're not one of us. But do two wrongs make a right.
To think that I admire you, well, I don't need your condescension.
And I think that this was probably the first time for Sera that Emily has stood up to her. I think it's really painful when you're the parental figure to have the person that you've been mentoring speak against you, but also that says that she's done a really good job of teaching Emily to be able to speak up, to stand up for herself, to have things that she's willing to go against the grain that she believes in. So even though this is really painful for Sera, I also have to say, good job in mentoring Emily, which again, for me, you might say like they're both seraphim, they both lived for a really long time. They're not actually like parental figures, but it does seem like a mentorship or an apprenticeship that they have between each other. And the way that she interacts with her does seem kind of maternal to me. And so she's done a good job with that. And so for that, I think that she should be proud.
With talk of virtue, just pretension, was I too naive to expect you to heed the morals you're purveying?
And it's such a hard thing when the people that you've been working with, they look at you differently or they feel like they have a different value. If you speak about it and talk about things and work things out and explain your reasonings for why you do things, you can come to an understanding. A lot of times people might not agree with what you did, but sometimes they might understand why you did that. And so you can still come to common ground. This is not something that has to be, well, she didn't murder a whole bunch of people in that. This one might be a little tough. Like she did murder a whole bunch of souls from hell and they're not going to regenerate. And then the thought of redemption, I think this one's still going to be a pretty tough one. I can understand Emily being really angry about it, because isn't that the same behavior that a lot of people have gone to hell in the first place for?
I'm sorry, but this court finds that there is no evidence souls in hell can be redeemed.
And when she kind of like puts her hair back and tries to like go back to having her decor and doing those breaths to be able to reset, that is a really effective technique when you feel really upset or worried about things. Taking a few breaths, slow, deep breaths, letting your heart rate go down, actually makes us feel calmer. Not for everyone, but for most people. Because when you're doing the short chest breathing that you can tell that she was doing at the beginning, it actually sends a feedback loop to our brain that we're running, that there's danger. And so when we take the deep breaths, exhale for longer than you inhaled, and slowly lets your body know that the danger is over, you've survived the tiger, so it doesn't have to keep on sending you epinephrine to keep you alive. And then you can come back to being more calm and relaxed and handle the situation a little better.
Extermination of human souls, demon or not, there is no reason to be doing this.
They were uprising, Emily.
See all the eyes? This gave her a rise. So all of the eyes come out for both Emily and for Sera. Like they're looking everywhere. This is the alert. It's kind of funny because there's a lot of animals that do that as a threat reaction. So it seems like this is her threat reaction to Emily to like stay down, listen to her right now.
My position as the head seraphim to protect our people at all costs.
And that thing again of protect our people at all costs. That's such a heavy statement. Do the ends justify the means? Doing horrible, horrible things at any cost in order to protect the people you love. I can understand it, but it still doesn't mean that it's right. Though you might disagree with me, you can let me know in the comments below.
It's your position to keep them happy and joyful.
How can I bring joy when I now know we are bringing misery to thousands?
I know I said it in the Emily video, but like that is again, the stay in your lane. This is my job, let me do my job. You don't understand it, you just make people happy. You just sit there and smile. And it's kind of demeaning to Emily, like, shh, hush, don't question, just stay smiling.
Everyone looks to us, and we can't doubt ourselves or worry about the fates of demons when we have our own souls to protect. If you start to question, you could end up like Lucifer, fallen.
And my video about the cult, I kind of went through my feelings of not being able to question things. Right away, if someone is upset at you questioning the reasonings and the thoughts of what they do, and I'm not saying that that means that you can question everyone. There is a hierarchy, and I know in heaven, it's quite the business. There's a strong hierarchy. But not allowing any questioning at any time, that's a red flag for me, for anything. Sometimes questioning and understanding it increases the chances that people will do what they have to. Even even in strong situations, not knowing increases the chances that people might do the wrong thing, may not understand the reasons for why you do it. I got pushback from that before, but it's true. If I hit someone, they might get really offended, but if they realize that there was a mosquito on them that was about to bite them, they might feel less upset that I smacked and killed it before it bit them. Maybe they might feel really horrible that I killed a mosquito, or that I smacked them without their consent. They might have. You never know. Also, the relationship matters.
I couldn't bear to see you suffer that fate. So please, let me worry about this, okay? I'm sorry.
To be able to ask questions, is that something that should make you fallen? Is that something that you should be thrown out of heaven because you don't toe the line? Because you have your own thoughts? That also makes me question, what are the rules at play here and why? And are they then truly just?
What? Where am I? Oh. Hello?
And look at Sera's face. There we go. Of course, it's Serpentius. He's the one that proved all of this, that Sera must have been wrong. Her edict, her verdict, must be wrong, because if no souls in hell could be redeemed, then Serpentius would not be there. Do the ends really justify the means, or does it prove more that she was wrong, that souls in hell can be redeemed, and so slaughtering them probably is not the best way to be able to deal with this problem? I love the shocked look that she has and the joy that M has. Knowledge is power, so in order to save yourself from your own personal hell, get all the knowledge you need with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. You want to learn a new skill, you want to get prepared for whatever life has to throw at you. Hellfire, brimstone, you never know. It could be your own execution angels. So learn, enjoy, enhance with Brilliant's ever-growing set of new courses. And you might already be inundated with so many different courses and learning different things, but Brilliant's designed so that you can learn better, learn easier, and help you stay focused, because it's so hard to stay focused, especially on those difficult courses that you may want to avoid. And Brilliant helps make learning your goals demonically fast, but also fun. Brilliant gamifies it with fun features that you can challenge yourself, compete with others, so it never gets boring. And if you're worried about selection, Brilliant has thousands of lessons. They have math lessons, AI, data science, neural networks. There's so many different sets of courses, and learning something new is really powerful and really good for your brain. That learning helps excite all of those different neurons, helps reduce anxiety, and keeps you goal-oriented. I've already done the courses on algebra, logic, and geometry, and I found all of them engaging. And I found it really cool because you got to construct those critical thinking skills, which are the basis for mathematical learning, but also for looking at the world a little bit more critically. For me, especially as a visual learner, Brilliant made it so very easy because I could actually take a look at how things work together, and that's the way that I learn. So why don't we all try to give ourselves the goal of learning something new for just 15 minutes a day? And the great part is there's no pressure. If you're finding something a little bit too challenging, too difficult, you can just go back to an easier lesson or decide to have it show you how to do it so you can break it up into small little manageable bites. So if you're still not sure, you can just try it all out. Everything for free. Yes, for a full 30 days. And yes, doing that helps out my channel. So please go do that. Do it now. Just visit brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description. You will get 20% off an annual premium subscription. So thank you so much to Brilliant for sponsoring my channel, because that allows me to make more of these videos that I so dearly love. And thank you to you for watching them and hopefully subscribing, which also helps me so very much. So you can let me know in the comments below if you think I was a little bit too harsh on Sera and her belief system and the way that she handles things or not.